Hello, we are going to do a little video today, which is all about 5 big things that have happened in my life. And you know what? I actually feel a bit nervous about doing this because this is a very different video to what I normally do. A little bit less polished, a little bit less styled, a little bit less makeup. but I'm a really big believer in working with people who have an alignment to me. And when I work with those clients, the result for them is so massive. But when I work with people who are not open to my energy, who do not resonate with me, then it just doesn't, the magic isn't there. And I know I'm not the only one who knows this. Everyone who works in my field knows this is true. So I wanted to share a video just sharing a little bit more about me on a very authentic level. And if people resonate with me, then I invite them to reach out and connect with me. And if not, then have a beautiful day. It's all good stuff here. It's all normal. Everyone has a lot of big stuff that happens in their life, and of course, I'm no exception. I'm no exception to the rule. But the way I got to where I was is pretty interesting, and that's kind of what I want to focus on. The first thing that happened to me, and I'm really going into later in life, not early stuff at all, is I got burnt out at work. I was working in London for a boutique fitness company, quite smart, quite fancy, and I worked for a boss, and it was a pretty toxic environment. And I have very big sensitive energies in my soul contract, and I have big karmic 5s and 8s, which are all about boundaries and asserting yourself. And you can attract not great situations in order to overcome them and come into your power. And oh my gosh, that was challenging. I overgave for 4 years until I got burnt out. And someone said, "Hey, you should go see a kinesiologist." And I was like, "A whaty?" A kinesiologist. And I was like, "Okay." And I hoofed it out of London from Clapham Junction for an hour. And this lovely lady called Kim looked after me. And the second session I had with her, I felt like I really wanted to share something very, very deep that was sitting in me. I was 26 and I'd never had a serious relationship. I thought there was something wrong with me. And I told her this, and she said, "We'll do some work around it." And she made me say these different affirmations. And when we said, "I am worthy of love," it was like this huge, overwhelming emotion that came roaring out of me. It was tears, it was laughter, it was snot, it was very, very deep and powerful. I've never, ever felt anything like that, never done any kind of healing before. It was wild and such a release. And, it was maybe 4, 5, 6 weeks later, I met my boyfriend who I was with for 3 years. And it was a very beautiful, harmonious, peaceful, and loving relationship. So that's a very big thing that happened to me. And added to that, when I had that kinesiology session, I started to understand, oh my God, we're not just our minds, we're also our bodies. We also have a soul. And it was like the biggest light bulb in my head went off as to the true nature of our world. And it was a beautiful awakening. That was a big thing. The second big thing that happened in tandem to that was I trained as a kinesiologist, and the foundation training, you know what, I didn't take it very seriously. The first day I turned up hungover because my boyfriend had had a birthday party. So I really didn't take it very seriously. And I liked it, but I was like, meh, meh. But I did the practitioner course and I was like, oh, I'm meant to be here. It was such a deep feeling. It was the first day. 30 of us sat around in a circle in a slightly old hotel in London. I was like, oh my God, I am meant to be here. I am home. And that was a beautiful thing. Beautiful. And yeah, one of the best feelings in my life. And I learned an incredible amount. Trained as a kinesiology practitioner and then went and practiced kinesiology up until last year when I decided to let it go with love because it wasn't the direction I was going in, and I've found something that I enjoy on a far greater level and something that I find 1,000 times more powerful, which is divine healing That's not to throw any shade on kinesiology. I didn't want to work with clients on a physical level. I wanted to work and come through on a spiritual and emotional level. But I still love kinesiology. It's very powerful. After that year of 2020, which was shattering, we're actually going to put that in as number 3. 2020. That was a very deep awakening. I remember everything kicking off and I was like, this is a fucking lie. Oh man, I was enraged. I was angry. I was raging in fear and grief of the veil that had shattered the illusion of the world that I thought I lived in. And that is the most painful process I think anyone can go through. Of course, there's many awful things that can happen to us in our life, but that was way up there. I spent a year, maybe 2 years, grieving deeply. I also broke up a relationship. I left London. I couldn't work. Moved in with my parents, which has beautiful silver linings. But I was grieving and I was angry and I was scared. It was a crazy time. I know there's a lot of people that resonate with me on that. I went to marches. I started writing. I was like, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. Don't you try and fax me. Oh man, I went warrior mode. I think a lot of people did. We were very defensive, very angry, especially because no one else could see it. And I was like, it's so obvious. It's right there. All the evidence, the fact. But some people were ready and some people weren't. And I've come to peace with that. But at the time, there was no peace. There was no peace in my life. And the beautiful thing that actually happened off the back of that was I met Soren. Soren is no longer with us. He died in 2022. He was a badass kind of writer, coach, worked with people, gravelly, lived in Spain. He was a magic man with no bullshit. And I met him through finding his writing. And I said, oh man, I love you. Can I have a reading? And he gave me a reading on my hands. It was the most powerful reading I've ever had. I love the soul contract readings, but this was, he saw into my very soul. And it was the most validating thing I'd ever received in my life. And I think it was the first thing I'd ever had like that. And it was the most powerful thing. It just wiped me out. He just did an hour's audio recording on everything. And I was like, I feel the most validated I've ever felt. And I'd not discovered soul contracts by then. They give you the same thing, that validation, being seen, being understood. Oh, it's such a relief when you get that. He got that. And I shared a couple of articles I've been writing because he was exposing everything and sharing brilliant information. And he said, cool, I'm going to post it for you. And I was like, what? I think it was a post about cognitive dissonance. They're still on my blog right at the very end. I took out a few of them, but those key ones I've kept on there because it's who I am. I'm not going to hide it. I was not anti-COVID. I saw through COVID. There's no, two sides of the coin or the story with this. There is truth and there is the lies, and I'm not going to hide that part of who I am. I don't need to, and if people don't resonate with that, it doesn't matter. But it did matter to me earlier. It was alienating, isolating, terrifying, especially when none of my friends, family, none of them understood. They actually defended and they attacked, and yeah, it was brutal. But Soren, yeah, he gave me that opportunity to write, and I wrote for him. I wrote for him for maybe like a year or half a year. He put me on his website, which is a massive accolade. He got hundreds of thousands of visitors a month, and it gave me confidence, and he helped to shape me as a writer. And the best piece of advice he ever gave me was, sometimes you land on fertile soil and sometimes you don't. And how beautifully true is that? Sometimes what you do resonates and it sinks in and it grows, and other times it just lands on a barren patch of earth and it goes nowhere. So true, especially as a writer. And yeah, this was a pretty big thing. When he died, it was uh, very isolating to grieve for someone that no one else knows. Um, but what a precious gift he was. A precious gift. I put some of his writing on my blog. I found it on the Time Waver machine from the past. So if you want to read some of his beautiful work, just go to the bottom bit of the footer of my website. And then I would say the last really big thing that kind of shaped who I was, well, there's a couple of things. I've gone over five. I found a job and I'm still working in that job. I'm the training coordinator at the Centre for Conscious Ascension. And I found this job the day after I declared I was not yet again finding another part-time job. This was 2022 and I'd spent the last 3 years waitressing, admin, reception work, lots of waitressing. And I was so tired of trying to build my kinesiology business and not being able to. It's the eternal struggle for every person who works in this industry, every creative as well. And I just thought, I can't be done. I don't want to do this anymore. And fuck it. I'm not going to get a job. I'm just going to try and grow my business. And the next day, this perfect, remote, part time, well paid, spiritually aligned job landed in my life through a Facebook post of a friend. And I was like, what? And through that, I found divine healing. Through that, I found soul contract reading. Through that, I found the light body work, which I'm training in. Through that, I have grown emotionally and spiritually and in the most astounding of ways. And I'm deeply grateful to Nicholas, who I work for, who is an incredible mentor and sees my ungroundedness. I mean, I forgot to turn up to meetings when I first started working for him. To be fair, I was also going through a horrible breakup from an emotionally abusive relationship and moving back in with my parents and cutting ties with a horrible living situation that I was stuck in for a year with someone else. 2022 was a shit year. I'm just going to call it as it is. And that was big. And I'm going to say the last big thing was moving to Cambridge on my own. I found this beautiful flat that I live in. I'm going to show you. This is my view out the window. Just green. And there's another window there. And it's my heaven. And I now live here with my beautiful boyfriend. But I am the luckiest girl in the world. It was financially hard because I had 2 bedrooms, one for the kinesiology, one to sleep in. But it has worked. And I've been here 2.5 years. And it was a really big thing, really big independent thing. I never lived on my own. I'd always lived with people. And yeah, these are pretty big things that shaped me, that pulled me into the work that I'm doing. I love giving soul contract readings, especially to people who are open to receiving them and have similar energies to me, because I see them and I get them. I'm a projector in human design, so I can see things quite deeply in people. Not everyone wants to be seen. Not everyone is ready for that depth. Not everyone is open to going diving with me. And I call my work diving because we strap on our gear and we go diving into the depths of the subconscious, of the psyche, of the hidden ego. And that is the work that I fucking love. I love it. I love it more than anything. And when I give sessions like this, it's just heart opening for me. And I have 7s in my soul contract, a lot of them. And I'm here to do catalytic work with myself, first and foremost, and with other people. So there we go, 50 minutes, my life story, 5, 6, 7 big things that happened. I don't even remember. If you've watched this far, it's been a joy to share this. It's very healthy and lovely for me to do a very vulnerable and authentic video. Yeah, I'm gonna go now and I wish you a very beautiful rest of your day.